What's up, everyone? I'm your host, Maxie Wilson, and welcome to the Hoop and Talk podcast, the show where we play the sport we love while we talk about it.
Before we get into the hoop sesh, you got to do a little bit of stretches. If you're listening to this while doing any type of physical activity, whether you're hooping yourself or going for like a little jog, maybe even a drive, I don't know, make sure you stretch before you do that physical activity. The amount of times I see people get hurt so unnecessarily just because they didn't stretch. I mean, it takes maybe 5 minutes to get like a full body stretch. So, get the blood pumping, get your muscles moving, and get stretched out before you go to do something. You don't want to get hurt and then not be able to do your normal stuff on a daily basis. What they know about these. All right, and also don't forget to tie your shoes. The sun is currently blazing, but we'll be all right. Anyway, welcome to Hoop and Talk, everybody. This is the Hoop and Talk podcast, as you probably heard in the intro, where we talk about the sport we love while we talk about it. Instead of being constrained to a nice podcast chair in a studio, we're out here in front of the goal hooping. We got a nice little camera over here. That'll be the post move cam, so we can hit our, our little Hakeem sky hooks and such. But yeah, welcome to Hoop and Talk, everybody. We got our nice stretch in, so I guess we can get right into the episode. Okay, so everyone has their own basketball story. Some started since before they could even say the word basketball, but mine didn't. My basketball story started about 4th grade when I saw like a little flyer for the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade basketball team. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. 4th grade me was looking in the mirror and doing some serious reflecting and saying, you know what? I'm a little bit bigger than I'd like to be. I'm gonna try to join a sport, try to get a little bit healthier. And so I did. I went and tried out and I made it, surprisingly. And I found out very quickly that I was not built for that type of physical activity yet. Right now I am not skinny by no means, but at that point in time, I was quite the large kiddo. And I couldn't run down the court. I couldn't do a whole sprint without having to put my hands on my knees and start wheezing. It was really bad, but throughout all the missed sprints and having to run more sprints because I missed the first sprints, what it really taught me was, it taught me a serious lesson about hard work. Throughout all of it, I never ended up quitting, and I'm so proud of myself for not quitting. Because if I would have quitted, I never would have done the things that I've got to do and be the person I am today. And I owe that almost all completely to basketball. There were so many times where I could have just rolled over and said, well, I'm not making sprints. I'm not getting playing time. I might as well just quit and go do something else. But little me was a little bit more stubborn than that. So I ended up staying with it. I found my spot on the team. I eventually rolled with it. I went from not playing very much in high school to I eventually got over all my physical endeavors and could actually run a sprint. And then the problem was just getting good at actually playing basketball. And then once I did that, I got to start a pretty big majority of senior year. I think that journey of going from not being able to run a sprint to starting in high school basketball games really let me see just how much putting in the work and putting in your time can really benefit you in life. It's a very important life lesson that I think every kid should learn. My parents weren't one of those types that are like, oh, you have to play sports, you have to do this. They could have cared less if I was playing any sport. So really, it was up to me to motivate myself to play. And most of that motivation came from just the love of basketball itself. I have such a passion for this sport and just the way everything feels, from the sights to the sounds, to the extra moves, to the lights of the NBA, everything about the sport, the culture, the music, it's all solidified. Basketball is a huge part of my life that I couldn't picture myself without. One of the big things that fueled my passion is just the rhythm of the game. There's a lot of things in life that people say it's almost poetic or almost musical. And basketball is definitely one of those things. From the actual musical aspect of the tempo of the ball bouncing, to the ones you might not see as well. Oh, I lost my ball. There's a lot of musical aspects. As a person who absolutely loves and adores music, I was really drawn to the musical aspect. The tempo of every dribble, the cadence of it, the silence right before the shot, and then of course everybody loves that nice swish sound. Even NBA players talk about it. Boston Celtics guard Jaylen Brown, he was talking in an interview describing about how the way he guards different people in the NBA depends on their rhythm. He says that every player has their own individual rhythm and cadence. So whenever you can kind of picture that rhythm, you can almost expect what's coming. Whether they're about to cross over or do a tween behind the back, whenever you know the rhythm of a player, you can almost predict when they're going to do certain moves. One thing I've noticed about a lot of basketball players is that it's usually a lot more about flow than form. Well, you do have some people who will swear by form and say you got to be absolutely perfectly square on every shot, or you have to have exactly the right base when crossing over. There's also those who they have unorthodox ways of getting their shot across. Like many great shooters like Ray Allen. That dude's shot ain't normal. He hits him with a nice ooh over the head. And while I can't shoot like that, he can. So that's his shot. It's almost like he's found a flow where someone with a little bit more form, Stephen Curry, one of the greatest shooters in NBA history, he can find that flow where it doesn't matter if he's falling to the left, falling to the right, or falling backwards. His shot's going in every single time. He keeps his arms the same way, and he finds a way to get that ball in that hoop. Me personally, I love watching the hoopers who have almost like a flow to their game. I can highlight some of those as Kevin Durant. He has a nice flow where he's down, he's coming towards you, and then no matter how good of a defender you are, it's pretty hard to guard a 7-foot dude who's able to move like a guard, crossing up, and then fade away and shoot it right over your head. I always found that whenever I reached that quote-unquote flow state was when I was just not really thinking about it. One of the biggest hang-ups that I've had in basketball throughout the years is that I would just overanalyze and overthink everything I was doing, where I was even questioning the way I stood. And what helped me fix that, and what helped me transition into where I was getting more playing time and actually figuring out how to play basketball, was just doing what I'm doing right now and going out to a hoop and just playing. This is the most pure form of basketball right here. It's just going out to any court with just you, a ball, and just going to work, doing moves that you do in a game, finding your flow, finding your balance. So then you can do all these crazy moves in game. You can step to the side and shoot that thing. You just you learn how to play within your own rhythm. And for me specifically, which it might be odd because I'm not the tallest player. I'm about 6'2". I played a post roll. It's a very small high school. So our competition, I'm not going against 7-footers. I was going against mainly the tallest dude I'd guard year round was usually at AAU tournaments. and they'd be around like 6'8" to 6'10". Still very tall compared to me, but I was opposed. So I wasn't out here doing all this crazy stuff. I picked that up a little bit later. What I was doing is that I was right down here, right at the block, either giving them a shake, a fake, and doing something like that in hopes that our guard would hit me right in the pocket. I'd get a nice easy lay, and then we were going back to defense. That's pretty much how I played. The flow of the game is something that you can't really teach a player. A player really does just have to go out on their own and find it. There's a reason so many coaches say, don't just play basketball when you're at practice or shoot around. Go play basketball every day. Go hoop, whether you're hooping with friends at a city park or you're just hooping by yourself, like I am. Just go out and do that. This court where I'm playing right now actually is very special to my basketball career. This is what I like to call the shed court. As you can see, this is a court in a shed. I really wanted a place to play, but around me, there's not a lot of good concrete, so I couldn't really practice dribbling much. But we had this shed back here that wasn't getting used very much, and it had a nice solid floor, and I had the idea, well, what if I put a basketball goal in there? And as you can see, the shed ain't clean by no means, but I would clean out a little area, a little strip of the shed. It was right over there, and I'd set my goal up, and I would just play for hours. I'd have a nice little Bluetooth speaker. I'd be listening to all types of music, just getting in that flow and doing nothing but shoot around, feeling my shot, and work on my game. And not only did it physically benefit me as a player and let me get better at the game of basketball, but it also helped me mentally. It almost worked as an escape from the rush of every day, you know. If I couldn't wrap my head around something that I had to do or something that someone had done to me, I could just go out to the shed court and hoop whenever I wanted. I think the psychological benefits of going out and hooping by yourself are very high too. What people don't see, you know, when people go to an NBA game, they see these players go out and it's almost like they do this every day. It's just confident. Every shot that they shoot, they think it's gonna go in. And it is confidence, but they get that confidence from somewhere, and that confidence is from hours and hours of shooting, working on moves, working with trainers, and just practicing their game to get better at it. These players spend hours working on their game, and you build confidence through repetition. So whenever you can get out by yourself and get all these reps, you're slowly building your ability. So whenever I can pull a shot off like this out here and do it 100 times over, I know that as soon as I get in the game and I'm put in that position, it's going in regardless. If I could give y'all one thing to walk away from with this episode, I want to invite y'all, whether you play basketball or not, to go out and do whatever you like doing. Don't get hung up on not get hung up on, well, maybe I should wait till the weather's right or something. Just go out and do your thing. Many times I found in my life that I'd think that I would get better at something from just looking up YouTube videos and sitting and really thinking about it, and would think, oh, well, this will make me better. I'm knowing more about it. But until you physically go out there and you physically put the work in, your body is not going to have no idea what it's doing. You can watch a video over a jump shot 1,000,000 times trying to get it perfect, but if you never practice it once, you're going to go out there and it's going to look like Lonzo Ball whenever he first came into the NBA. It's not going to look pretty. Shout out to Lonzo though, love that guy. Another great thing about basketball that I loved is that it can really be used as a form of expression, whether through that's actual forms of art. I've seen amazing illustrations online for people doing media for different forms of NBA and entertainment, but just also in the game itself. you can kind of almost get a feel of somebody's personality just by looking at how they play the game. Whenever you see those little fast guards who go 90 miles a minute, just absolutely crazy and going up, you can kind of tell that they've got a sporadic attitude. They're going up and they're, dunking that thing. They're doing crazy moves and dribbles. They've probably got a nice sporadic personality. But where you might see a taller, slower guard who he's more focused and he's watching the defense and he's more methodical, kind of like Luka Doncic. He's not the fastest and most athletic player. He's not going to get up and windmill on two guys. But what he's going to do is he's going to pick apart the defense while also moving very slow. They say that Luka Doncic he doesn't have the best gas pedal in the NBA, but he's got the best set of brakes ever. I think JJ Redick said that, which is ironic now that he's his coach. But the way Luka can start at the top of the key and break down his opponent, see a gap, and then go to attack, slow up, go up, get his defender in the air, and then just do a simple shot like that, it's almost mathematical to him at that point. He knows exactly what he can do from any area on the court. He's very sure of himself, so you can kind of see his personality leaking through. Whereas someone like a traditional big man, you can kind of see some kind of stoic tendencies. They're not always chasing to get a highlight play, but they're always reliable and there when you need it. They're always right there. They're not trying to do some crazy shot. Sometimes they'll just back the defender down and get a nice high percentage layup. They know what works for them, so they do it. Before I get out of here, I just want to say thank each and every one for clicking on the podcast today. If you enjoyed the episode and want to see more, down in the description, we'll have a link to where you can follow not only the Hoop and Talk podcast, but have links to see where you can see it when new episodes come up. In future episodes, we're going to be covering more specific topics with basketball, from the art of shooting to even the art of the handle. We might even do an episode on finishing so you can see the crazy finishing ability of players like Kyrie Irving. Once again, thank each and every one for listening today. I hope y'all have a nice rest of your day, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.